Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Hey, everybody. We are back.
Hey, y'all.
I don't know where Michelle went, but we are back.
We are back and we are
We're
ready.
back.
And we would like for you to just tell a friend to come on in
Please
the room
do.
and listen to us as we get ready to hash up this pre-debate show where we ask you, the audience, the viewers, the listeners, the friends, to just let us know what you're looking for or you want to hear from the candidates. As you can see, I'm a little out of breath today, so I'm gonna try not to do too much talking. And again, I want to wait a minute or two before we really
Yeah.
get into it. And while we wait, what I will do is show you a clip of some of what I might want to hear from the candidates and what you might want to hear as well. So let's just go on in and listen to this while we wait for a few more eyes to come in and listen. And don't forget, like I said, tell a friend and share this video and come on into the live, join the discussion, be informed before November 5th.
I'm sharing now.
Okay. What happened? I don't know what happened here. I'm trying to put this to this. All right, here we go.
Tennessee, because a lot of Californians have moved here. Now, I moved here in January, but I'm originally from New England, which is a market that I also cannot afford to move back to. But the real issue that people should have in our country is not the random person finding their first home they can buy. The real issue is this right here. The corporate-owned housing communities, there are 60 homes going up right there. They're all going to be owned by a corporation, and they're only going to be leased out to people. And those 60 homes are going to turn into 60,000. And I just find it so crazy that we're letting this happen. Owning a home should not be a giant investment for shareholders. It should be something we all have a right to do. And they're changing the American dream and making it so the American dream is not home ownership, but it's renting. And I think that's wrong. And I think that's a much bigger problem. There's a lot of outrage here in Tennessee because a lot of California.
Okay, so I just wanted to start us off that way and talk about how, for me, housing is one of the bigger issues in this election. And the reason why for me housing is such a big issue is because wherever you go, unless you own your own property, rents are skyrocketing. It was a time when we thought that just affluent neighborhoods had rents that you could not afford, but now everywhere you go in every neighborhood, people are unable to afford decent housing. So that's one of the issues that I wanted to talk about. But girls, say hello and go.
Go ahead, Michelle.
There is so much on the table. There is so much on the table. I mean, how we're going to be able to really grasp it all or put it into one cohesive bundle, I don't know if we even can. There's so much at stake. There's so much at stake. Listen, I almost believe, Nikki, I almost believe that housing is something that may even potentially be on the back burner because there's so many other things that we need to do in order to get to the space where we can understand and appreciate a president of the United States. That's where we need to get to. Like all the other things, I know we need to hear about what their policies are. I get that. I absolutely get that. And I'm hoping that with this debate, that more and more people will understand who Kamala Harris is. I think she has some work to do. I think she absolutely has some work to do. But I think that before we can even get to the issues and the policies, we need to figure out who our president is about to be. Housing is one part, one major part, right? As a homeowner, I can appreciate, the intricacies of what goes into being able to afford a home, but I feel like that there's so many other things that we need to address as we go into this debate.
So what are you looking to hear then from them?
I want to hear who she is. I want to hear what she stands for. I want to hear what her policies are.
Well, you said that before you get into a policy, you wanted to know who she was. And I think that, see, here's the thing that we can't really be too gullible about. And that is accepting what the mainstream media is telling us about getting to know who she is. She's not new to the game. Kamala been doing this for a long time. She might not be a national candidate, may have not been a national candidate, but she's not new to the game. And more importantly, she's been the vice president for 4 years. We voted for her before. So now is the time that this is your race, her race to run, her race to win, a race to lose. We do need to hear a policy. When you get in there, what are you going to do? And so if you're not addressing things like housing, income disparity, DEI, voting rights, the rights of women, what is your platform? So that is kind of what I want to hear her address. Although I kind of know where she stands. I do have a list that I'll go over a little bit later after I let you guys talk and I can catch my breath more.
Well, good evening, everybody. What I want to hear, I kind of know who she is, but here's the thing. To me personally, I think she was a very quiet VP. I don't believe that I don't know if they didn't allow her to do much, but you didn't really see her until this election started coming around, her supporting Biden and such. I didn't really see much of her in the limelight at all, right? And I know they're supposed to take a little back seat, but I'm going to be honest, when Obama was in there, I saw more of Biden. I did. I saw him.
So you saw more of Biden because Biden has always been, he wants to be out for. Biden wanted to be the president before Barack, before Clinton. So he was a little bit more outspoken. He has a lot more experience. He's been in the Senate for so long. So he was always a kind of rabble rouser, as you might say, to the point where you knew that when Obama ran and was in office, they had to tell Biden, "Yo, you the vice president, calm down, play your role." So, but for the most part, all you can't even name who Jimmy Carter's vice president was.
That's true.
I mean, we was alive. We knew. You only knew that Reagan's vice president was Bush because he came in next and failed. But, a lot of people, they know of Dick Cheney being baby Bush's vice president, but nobody really knew these people because it's kind of a backseat job.
No, and I agree with that. And I think that's what I mean by her not having so much limelight. And a lot, not me per se, but people probably are looking at that to say, like, who is she really? Like, what is she really going to be capable of doing? What has she done as the VP? That's what I want to know. What has she done as the VP?
Right.
To make things a little better. And I'm sure she's done some few things, but I'm trying to think of some of them. Right, that would be my thing, is what I want to hear from her. Also, of course, my biggest topic of the night for me is women's rights. That's the biggest topic for me. Economy is great, all of that, especially global warming and all of those things, but women's rights is number one for me. And I hope she gets to touch on that tonight.
What's number one for you, Michelle?
I don't have another one. I honestly don't have I like to keep everything basic because I'm a basic chick in the best sense of the word.
You are not
in the best sense of the word, right? So my motto from 2020 and 2021 was always make it make sense. And that's the thing that I still hold on to. Make it make sense. From me, at the most fundamental standpoint, right? If I'm being honest, and 1,000% transparent, my objective, not gonna lie, I would vote for a corpse before I saw Donald Trump back in the office. Period. That's my starting point.
Too. I'm on that.
Right. That's my starting point. That's my starting gate. Like, I want to see Donald Duck in the office of president before I see Donald Trump. Now, that being said, I also want to acknowledge the fact that I'm not necessarily saying that I'm willing to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a Black woman. What is she talking about? So now that brings us to the space where we need to understand what her platforms are, what she's into. And I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that feels like she's talking the talk right now to get in office. But again, it doesn't matter for me because I'd rather her than the alternative. But at the same time, she needs to build on her platform. Women's rights, the economy, the atmosphere, right? Global warming, all those things. She needs to get out there and let people know who she is and what she stands for. Now, what I will say is that, people are funny. People are funny, right? Because the reality is you never really hear much from the VP. It's always the president that leads the way. That's who you hear from. That's what it is. In fact, people kill me because they want to attack her for all these things that they say, oh, she didn't do while she was vice president. But let's be clear. Even the president doesn't have free reign to make choices about what they want to do. There are all these processes and procedures that they have to go through in order to get laws passed. Now, that being said, she just happens to be emerging at this point as VP, and now they want to put everything on her. Well, she didn't do anything while she was in the White House. Well, excuse me, she wasn't the president.
Well, she did her job.
She did her job, right, but she wasn't the president. So why are you trying to put all these things on her when it wasn't her responsibility in that capacity, right? So stop. So there's that. People make decisions about who they want to vote for and who they don't want to vote for and why. Okay. Now it becomes a scenario where you have to look at the facts. And the facts are very different oftentimes from the rationale that people make choices about. That's not the facts. And quite frankly, we see that all the time. You want to get caught up in your feelings and your emotions, but you're not looking at the facts. The facts are this, right? You mad with me for X, Y, and Z, but you're not acknowledging the facts. And that's what it all boils down to. And that's all I'm saying. Kamala, you need to come out tonight. You need to state what your platforms are. You need to be strong. You need to be consistent. And you need to win over those independent votes. Period.
I agree with you. So, but let me show you in the meantime an old clip from one of those State of the Union that Travis Smiley used to hold. And this was back before she was the vice president and when she was the prosecutor. So this would kind of debunk a lot of the Black people who are so I don't even know the right word to say, but all these silly Black people who are looking for excuses to vote for Trump, who are saying, "Oh, Kamala did Black men so dirty," and all lies. So here we go. I'm gonna put that clip up for us to look at, and everybody, tell me your thoughts on it.
Nobody cares about the fact that we've got a bunch of young Black and brown men in prison. That argument is not working. What I suggest we do as African Americans is own this issue in law enforcement and then define it in the way that works for us, because it is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We want our grandmothers to be able to walk to church and be safe. We want our babies to be able to walk to the park and be safe. What we don't want is racial profiling. What we don't want is excessive force. Right. What we don't want is to have our civil liberties and civil rights be stripped, but we do want law enforcement. So let's define it in the way that works for us by saying, I want community policing. I want a police department that works in my neighborhood and in my community that reflects the mores and the culture and respects my grandmother, again, when they walk in to talk to her. I want a system of accountability in the criminal justice system that says law enforcement needs to own crime prevention as much as it talks about long sentences. Because nationally, only 18% of serious crime results in an arrest. So if I, as law enforcement, with my responsibility to keep you safe, only talk about keeping you safe by sending people to prison for a long time, I'm necessarily going to fall short, because the vast majority of that crime's not even hitting my system. So if I'm going to keep my promise to you to keep you safe, I better talk with you about what I'm doing in terms of crime prevention. Nobody cares.
So that kind of debunks any thought that Kamala had no intention of creating programs that work in and for the African American community. So, of course, I would like to hear her address that, things like that. But let me go real quick down the list of some of the policy issues that she hopes to tackle during her administration. And this comes directly from the site. I'll put the link on, so anybody who wants to check it out can check it out. In fact, the site has her policy ideas, and then they have a link where you could also read Project 2025, which is Trump's playbook for the country if he gets in. So one of the first things that she wants to do is cut taxes for middle class families, make rent more affordable and home ownership more attainable, which is one of the things that I want to hear about. Grow small businesses and invest in entrepreneurs. Take on bad actors and bring down costs. Yes, because the price gouging is out of control. Strengthen and bring down the cost of health care. Protect and strengthen Social Security and Medicare, which is the Republicans have been trying to get rid of Medicare and Social Security for ages. If Trump gets in, it's going to happen because they want to privatize it and make money off them for their cronies. But anyway, down the list, she wants to support American innovation and workers, provide a pathway for middle class through quality, affordable education, which we need. Invest in affordable child care and long-term care, and not necessarily make your grandparents watch your kids like J.D. Vance want, and lower energy costs and tackle the climate crisis. So those are actual policy issues that she hopes to address in her administration, taken directly from her site.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, they sound good to me. Those are our pressing issues in our country as we speak. But I will say a lot of candidates, and not only her, every candidate comes up there during the debates, give a list of things that they're going to do. And I would like to see, like, how many of those really get done. I had that. Did I do the homework to really find that out? No. But I do know even Trump promised all of this and that. And to me, he made it worse. I didn't see anything great that he did. So again, I think they have all of these high hopes, but they get stalled, and or Congress don't pass it, and then it goes away.
Right.
And that's the real of it all.
And because I'm the basic queen, right? It all comes down to this. That all sounds good on paper. You could promote that all you want to, but until you're in a position where you can actually produce even something, anything, to show that these are your intentions, you're lacking. Period. And that's what it all comes down to.
So when you say, I know you want to stick with your basic, but could you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, listen,
Scout.
Trump sucks. Okay, there's no way around that.
Uh-huh.
But for his hardcore supporters, right, who you're trying to transition, let's say, over to Kamala, she's got to be able to produce something. Because not producing everything.
Let me stop you there. And this is what I've been telling people for quite some time. His hardcore supporters, you will never, ever move to this side. You can forget about that. Let them be where they be. What you're trying to get, and this is what I say,
the undecided.
Not only the undecided, but those people who decided that they're just going to stay home. You want to give them a reason to come out. And that is where you will probably make the difference. Is getting those people who are like a lot of Black people, which is why I wanted to cover this topic, is because a lot of us are good for saying, it don't matter what party is in, then neither one of us are going to do anything for us, blah, blah, blah. Well, those are the people that you kind of want to move this time.
Yeah.
Want to move them to the polls and get them to vote democratically because for one, and for no other reason but to just save the country. Because if Trump gets in, this country will not, it will cease to exist as we know it. And he said it himself, if you vote for me, you won't have to vote anymore. Because he intends on making himself a dictator and making this system of government a dictatorship where he will forever be in office until he dies. So if that's the kind of government we want, then yeah, stay home. If you want to live in Handmaid's Tale, stay home. But if you want a, a government that exists, I mean,
So not to cut you off, Nikki. First of all, shout out to Domingo Rodriguez. Love you, boo. Let me just say this.
uh-huh.
I agree with you. And I'm prepared to kind of alter my audience in the sense that maybe it's not the so-called Trump supporters that we're targeting, but to your point, those that are undecided or who decided that, oh, I'm not going to vote, this, that, and the third. And so for that very reason, I'm starting to feel like maybe this whole show should have been targeted differently, right? This whole show should have been targeted towards those people who believe or have decided that I'm undecided or I'm leaning towards Trump. And we know that there are people in our own community who are leaning in that direction. Look, for whatever reason, I can't wrap my brain around it, but I feel like that's what we need to understand. Those are the
I
things.
asked that question. What are you looking to hear? Because what they're looking to hear is what will persuade them one way or another.
Well, to that, we need those that are listening to give us more insight because we all on the same page, right? We preaching to the choir. We all have the same basic outcome, right? We all have the same feelings about what it is. I feel like we need to hear from people who are anti Kamala, if you will, to tell us what is it that you need to hear.
I'm not interested in that, to be honest with you. That's why.
Well, we should be.
No,
We
why?
should be.
No, because, like I said, for people who are anti-Kamala, you may not change their mind. You're not going to change their mind. You got to let them be what they are. You know, they have a right to vote for whom and whatever they want to vote for. You want to talk to the people. I mean, you want to talk to everybody. I hope everybody listens. I mean, you know. But my thing is this: you beating a dead horse, trying to get people to move to your side. That what's that saying? When people just they hell bent on misunderstanding you. That those people are hell bent on misunderstanding us. There's no bringing them over. But what I want to know is for those who are undecided, those who might want to just stay home, what is it that you're looking to hear? Because for me, like I said, I'm looking to hear what they have to say in housing, but I am already decided. I know that whether I vote for, that whether they talk about housing tonight or not, I'm voting for Kamala just to save the country. You know, and that's another thing that as a lot of African Americans and even Hispanics all talk about, voting or supporting Trump. They don't understand the real seriousness that if Trump gets in, the country is going to fall. And so, you have to pray for the welfare of the city. So if you're praying for the welfare of the city, that means that I'm praying that it works out for all of us, Trump supporters and everybody, in order for it to work for me. And that's why I want to know what people are struggling with, if they decide they don't want to get out. Can you read Bart Jr.'s question? Can somebody read that?
But to Michelle's point, you have to show those people that government works for them, and that isn't always easy.
Right.
And I think to some extent, and I think to some degree, that's why, respectfully, I disagree. I disagree because I feel like you have to be willing to hear all sides, whether you agree or disagree, whether you acknowledge that they're going to turn the leaf or not. The conversation needs to be had. And I think that's part of the challenge. I'm not going to say problem, but certainly part of the challenge, right? We can't be so closed-minded that we don't acknowledge those differences. And that's what it's really, truly about. I'm against Trump because I think he is a blatant racist, misogynist. I mean, all the things that I can say.
Time out. I was going to put on a little message on Facebook the other day saying, if I hear somebody say all the things or unalive one more time, then I'm going to scream. So, because I can't stand that all of a sudden now this is a phrase. And all the things, we never, please don't. No, that's just like my little, what do you call it, side.
Your little pet peeve. Your little sidebar. Well, it is though. It's appropriate for this conversation because if we're going to say all the things,
I hate it.
Right? If we're going to say all the things about him, we can go on and on.
Saying everything.
Okay, if we're going to say everything about him, right? But I still want to keep it comparable, if that's a word, right?
That's a word, but I don't know if it fits.
I don't know if it fits. I think what I'm trying to say though is I want to hear you out. I still have my beliefs. I still know what I'm doing. I still know where I'm going. I want to hear you out, and I want to be respectful, and then I want to be able to tell you, and then I want to be able to tell you why you're wrong.
But that's the thing.
But that's the thing. They don't think they're wrong, Michelle. So
I get that.
You could say that till you blue in the face. Their mind is made up, right? I think a lot of our attention needs to go to all those people that are voters that are registered, yet they won't come out the door. I believe that, right? Like it's not a point of getting people registered, right? We have thousands upon thousands of people that's registered to vote, and especially people in our community that are registered to vote, but they just refuse to vote. And if I hear one more time that my vote don't count, I don't know what I'm gonna say. My vote don't count. That and then you're here. It doesn't matter if you vote, right? It doesn't matter if you vote, if you don't vote. It matters, and the fact of it is really, really get on my nerve because it's just a slap into our ancestors' face who fought for us to vote, yet you're saying it don't matter. It just doesn't make any sense, but yet you complain that things are not falling into place the way they should.
Right. So listen to Bart Jr. Bart Jr. said one issue is that people don't view their vote as a chess move like the right does. Right? They don't view their vote as a chess move like the right. The right gets that they might not get their tax. They might not get their tax cut with every president, but they get to appoint federal judges or Supreme Court judges to that point.
So it goes
back to the whole, this is This is chess, not checkers.
Can you read the other one that Bart wrote?
Huh?
Read the other one that Bart wrote.
Which other one?
I'll
Let's just start with.
read it. You're trying to get to people who are lower propensity voters or have never voted. There are more of those folks whose social policies align with our own without having to move closer to the center. So you got it?
It was before I didn't realize it. Yeah. So you're trying to get people who are lower propensity.
Right. Who never voted.
Hold on. You gotta absorb that. Listen to that again.
I mean, I absorbed it already.
You've absorbed it, but we gotta make sure our viewers get it.
Okay, Bart gotta write in more
you're trying to get people who are lower propensity voters or have never voted. There are more of those folks. Whose social policy aligns with our own without having to move closer to the center. It's deeper. And Bart, let me know whether or not I'm receiving that correctly, because I'm understanding that's deeper. You got to go deeper. Listen, I'm so frustrated with all these people out here in these streets talking about I'm voting for Trump because he gave us a stimulus check. Knock it off and cut it out, because it's so much deeper than that. Well, and you have to think of yourself as more than that. So to Bart's point, you're trying to get people who are lower propensity. You got to think bigger. This is chess, not checkers.
No, so what he's saying is that there are people who have never voted and who don't really vote, but their policy wants are in line with what Kamala is offering, without us having to pull in all of those people who might have voted for Trump. That's what he's saying. And in other words, we can't keep focusing on trying to get people who are hell bent set against us. They're not gonna come with us. It's not that we can't listen to them. In fact, we have listened to them. And like you say all the time, make it make sense. We have listened to them. They have not made it make sense. And so when you find out that you're at that kind of a standstill with somebody, you just have to send them away with loving peace and let them be on their way. And it'll work out on one side or the other. The thing that I'm fearing, and especially for Black people, I want Black people to really put your ear to the computer or your phone or whatever else you need to do. You need to hear this. If Trump gets into office, our community will suffer the greatest, because he's serious when he goes in there saying he's getting rid of all of these government jobs. You know who work primarily in government sector? We do. All those Black jobs that he wanna, those are our jobs. And he wanna indiscriminately go into government spaces and just get rid of those jobs and hand them to the people he wants, or cut the agencies altogether. I'm telling you, read this Project 2025, how he's going to give police total immunity. So like what happened to Tyree Hill the other day on the side of the road on the way to his
horrible.
Will happen more often and with more deadly consequences. So if Black people don't wise up, like Bart said, in playing checkers and not chess, this time around we might not make it. And that's
Yeah.
nobody don't really want to tell the truth that way, but that's the truth.
That really is the truth. I mean, honestly, to me, this is one of the biggest, um, the one of the most important. We've had a lot of elections. I'm happy the fact that we first saw our first black president. Like I was there. My grandmother got the vote. I mean, we had tears in our eyes and all of those great things. But I'm gonna say that this may be one of in our lifetime most important times to vote. I mean, especially because if they're not really realizing democracy is on the line, and our livelihood and our life is on the line, then I don't understand like what part that people don't really understand. This is one of the most important elections that we need to come out in droves. We came out in droves for Barack Obama. We did. We showed up and showed out. But we need to have that
Energy.
same way, the same enthusiasm to do it now.
Yeah.
Because yes, we'll be making history all over again. That's a blessing, but it's bigger than a woman president. It's bigger than that.
Yes.
It really is, and it's sad to say that a lot of us are still like in an ignorant state, not to know how important this election is.
Right. When you have somebody like Liz Cheney, you know how conservative and mean spirited and corporate aligned Liz Cheney and her father,
Mm-hmm.
and they came out to tell you that they are voting for Kamala to save the democracy.
That's right.
If that right there don't get you,
right? I don't know.
I don't know what else. I mean, I think that you just really, really, really made me want to be a return to slavery. Because I can't, I literally, I have heard and talked to people. I had a therapist coming here to, to work with me. To help me with my voice. She said that she was really looking into moving to another country if Trump gets in. And I mean, she was seriously looking. I keep saying I'm looking and I'm kind of toying with the idea if I could, but where am I going? Who's going to push me around wherever I go? I really am not in a position. That's why I feel like I have to save the democracy.
That's right.
But people are afraid. They really are afraid.
That's true. And I just really, really wish we could get through to those that truly don't understand. Like, even if they just take some of the snippets out of the this Project 25, just take some of those things and read it, right? That in itself,
it's scary as hell.
I mean, if you don't see that, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
But so like we were talking about when we started off, what people wanted to hear.
Right.
I was saying about the housing. What I want to hear is somebody address the housing and talk about how these corporate sharks are really preying on the general public at large by buying up all the property, buying up all the land, and raising rents in a way like just for instance, and this is not just happening to Red Lobster, it's also happening to other chains. So Red Lobster had almost went bankrupt. I'm sure people know about it. And they were saying that it was because of their pricing and people were getting all these special deals and because of inflation. And that was not true. What happened was Red Lobster sold their properties. They kept their brand, but they sold the properties. The people who bought the properties went up on the rent so much that they had to raise prices for clothes. So this is happening all over the country, where these corporate conglomerates are buying up even regular houses. They buying houses and making them into either Airbnb or turning them into what do you call it, associations, where people don't just go in and buy a house and it's just my house. That's it. These people are going in and they have to pay the fees that you pay when you have an association.
Right.
So it's not like a regular block like we're used to. We grew up on. And this is happening all over the country, and it is very scary because when they're not doing that, then they have all of these rental properties, sort of like the one that I live in, where they own many of them, and they're charging these exuberant amounts of rent. Now, I don't see how a regular person, unless you're living with people, you sharing your house, I really don't understand how people are surviving. You gotta see me in here sometimes, and I be in people's pocket in my mind, like, oh, I know the rent is that much over there, and they may be.
Yeah,
I mean, how they people in the corner? What's going on?
it's true. It's very true. I say the same thing, Nikki.
It's very.
It's just going up and up. And I'm telling you, in 2 years from where I was, in 2 years from where I moved, like looking in the housing, like apartments right now in this area, went up $400 to $500 a month from 2 years ago.
Wow.
400 to 500, nothing
Listen,
new, same
I could tell you,
amenities.
I could tell you, rent nowadays
It's
is
crazy.
as much as a mortgage.
Yes.
If not more sometimes,
Yeah,
depending on where you are. They're putting up a lot of apartment buildings and things of that nature. Of an apartment building, one apartment, $3,000 and something dollars for an apartment.
that's more than my mortgage.
Yeah,
Literally.
If I didn't live with my son, I don't know. I don't know. I guess that maybe they have special housing for the handicapped or something, but I don't know where I would be if I didn't live with my son because I couldn't afford rent like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean it's terrible actually.
It's terrible.
All I can say is praise God for allowances, right?
I wonder what old people do. That's a
We
good
don't know. We don't know.
So that's something that maybe I want to hear from the candidates. You know, what do they have it planned for older Americans?
And they don't really touch on that too much, Nikki. I'm gonna be honest with you. Have you ever really heard them really talking about that other than your Social Security that we may or may not have for those that's still working? That's all I really hear. I don't hear them saying anything about seniors.
Me either.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Can somebody read Bart's comment too?
We read
Thank you, Bart. No, it's another one. Thank you, Bart, for providing so much context.
If we can inspire them to show up, we can get shit done. We can provide affordable housing, good paying jobs, health care, child care, free college, etc.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need a president who's vested in the community as a whole, not just the rich. Not just the rich, because trickle down economics is a lie. It's a big bold-faced lie. So,
Really,
I mean, we're going to wrap up a little early today because we want you to be able to go get your glass or whatever. I'm not going to judge. We want you to get your glass or whatever, put your feet up, and really turn on the debate and really listen to the candidates.
Really listen.
And even if you've already decided or not.
Hey, Chanel.
Hey, Chanel.
Sorry.
Even if you've already decided, I want you to listen in and key in on those points of conversation that when you go to work or when you talk with your family members or friends, that you could have a better explanation in order to get those people who may not have voted to come on over and vote in November. And hopefully they'll be voting on the side of democracy,
Right.
on the side of education, fair housing, fair affordable housing. And this is what we need in November.
We do.
I know that it seems as if we've been having low turnouts when we have these topics.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
sure if people just don't want to know. They don't want to discuss it. They don't want to argue. I don't know what it is about politics that people stay away. But this is one time in a history that we're alive, like you said, Dion, that we ought to get on.
We better do it. Telling you. We need to do it.
Yep.
It's a need.
Tell your mama, tell your mama's mama, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your friend.
Yes.
November 5th is fast approaching.
And please find out if you're registered to vote. Please do so. It's not too late.
Right. And also, don't be turned away or weary because they have put up roadblocks to make it harder for us to vote. So be aware.
I have to walk. I'm going. Believe it. I'm going.
Michelle?
This was a good topic.
Yeah, it was.
It's needed.
Thank you for all of those who tuned in. Michelle? Is she frozen? She's frozen.
I'm not frozen.
Oh, well.
It will look like it.
Yeah,
I'm
Can't
just
really
listening.
see your face.
I'm just taking it. You can't see my face.
We could see it, but it's
frozen.
Well, carry on.
Well, anyway, just last remarks, ladies. I already had mine.
Well, mine is listen to this debate tonight and really, really contemplate on the reasons why you're not voting, those that are not voting. Really listen to the debate and really see what we're up against and rethink that thing and get out there and vote. And that's my spiel because I nothing is going to stop me. Michelle?
And my final comments are, while I do understand how important this all is, I can't wait till we get to talking about something fun. I can't wait till we get back to the juicy topic and all the fun and exhilarating.
This could be fun if people were interested.
Yeah, but they're not, Nikki. Let's just be clear. Like, knock it off. Okay?
They're not, but this is our life right here.
We understand that, and we understand that we have to put certain priorities up front. But I'm just ready to get back to the juicy conversations and all the juicy topics that we always love to talk about. Girlfriendships, boyfriendships, this, that, and the third, side chicks, whatever it is.
Whatever you want to talk about, as long as you don't say all the things.
Whatever it is, I can't wait for everybody to get their schedule together, come back, meet the ladies in the ladies' room. We have so much to talk about. We have so much to share. We have so much information to engage with each other, and we need to get back together, right? We need to get back. We are a group of, listen, quiet as it's kept, Black women, period. We about to take over the world. You better get in here. You better get in here. You better get in here. You better get in this room because we're about to take over. And these three women that you see here, we are leading the way. We're leading the charge. So come join us. Come join us and add to the conversation. We want to be open. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear your comments. So come and join us in the ladies' room and let us share together. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And we will make it to the other side.
Please close out with Chanel's comment, please.
Yep.
Oh, wait, let me see. Hold on, Chanel. Oh, I can't see it.
I got it. If we don't get out to vote, it's gonna be a long time before we get back to fun.
There we go.
Say it again, Chanel. Say it again.
On that note,
Thank you, Chanel.
thank you, Chanel. On that note, if nothing else needs to be said. Good night.
That's it.
At all.
Good night, y'all. Much love.
Love you, ladies.